All right, it is about day 17. I'm starting to lose track of days, but I'm gonna do a quick vlog about language school again and how I feel like my first impression of it was a bit wrong, at least when it comes to speaking. So right here, I'm near Kyoto Station, if you can see Kyoto Tower. It's actually quite beautiful right now, like this angle of it. Let me just do a little bit of a zoom in. But one of the best things about being out here is just getting to see sites like these and doing these vlogs. That was a bit of a tangent, but anyways, so language school. Look, I think when I first got into it, I was definitely very focused on like what I wanted in terms of speaking and improving with speaking and listening. And there's not as much of that in class, more so like learning grammar and vocabulary. But there is a segment of the class where we do go over like pronunciation and tones and how to adjust your tone to make a sentence a question, to make it an answer, and all that stuff. Just mainly uptones and downtones. And I think, interestingly, what made me change my mind was listening to everyone do exercises, because oftentimes the teacher would ask each person to talk individually. There's about 15, 16 of us, I think. So it would take time for each person to do this, but I naturally, since like I played piano for 16 or so years at this point, I've lost track, but I'm a musician basically, so I have a tendency to listen to pitches and just listen overall a lot. I also do voiceovers as well, so it's like a lot of audio feedback. So I've been able to listen to everyone in class speak in the beginning, and definitely some people had their own accents from their countries, or they just didn't, they were like a lot slower at saying things, or their pronunciations were slightly off, tones were off. But oddly, even after 2 weeks, just 2 weeks of being in class, it sounds like everyone is improving. Like I'm not just going crazy or anything, but it really does sound like everyone is improving, and the teacher also said that as well. So I just find it quite fascinating how like just doing it a little bit each day over time can accumulate, and you'll see a lot of improvements. So I definitely feel like my first impression of it was wrong, and that there is enough of it to improve your speaking abilities. But I still think taking things into your own hand, and like for me, I personally, when people are doing their speaking exercises, or when the teacher's calling different people and it's like repetitive answers sometimes, I like to either say the answer out loud as well with the other person, obviously not as loud as them, sort of like a whisper, or just like start reading past work that we studied in class before and reading it again out loud as a whisper, enough to hear myself and hear my own tones and whatnot. And that's sort of the way I've been approaching the speaking aspect of the class and how to improve with that. So, and just as more context, in case like previous videos I mentioned, this is class 2. So I'm kind of surprised that I do feel like class 2, despite being only one above like the beginner one, this is the intensive course, so it's 3 months for the class, and then you move on to the next one. So class 1, 3 months, class 2, 3 months, and so on. And it is a good amount, and I feel like just with this class alone, I don't know, in my head, I know this is also still first impression since it's only been 2 weeks, it just feels like I'm learning a good amount and a lot, to the point where like I do think there will be a lot of significant improvements in just 3 months. So far so good in my opinion of language school. Like again, it's only been 2 weeks, but this it's been a good 2 weeks and making me feel like I'm picking up the language a lot more and being able to practice it in a way that makes me feel like I'm improving. So that's a good thing. But I will do a before and after speaking example. I will probably try to do one really soon, since the more time that passes, obviously the more I improve, and I'm not seeing the true beginning But I want to talk to my friend probably too to see how much I can talk to a Japanese person and not just to the camera. But I'll do both and see how it goes. But for now, that is my update on Japanese language school at the 2-week mark. I definitely do think first impressions can be too harsh, and that I should have definitely taken a bit more time before forming any sort of judgments. And I do think a lot of my judgments were also based on what people who have experienced language school like multiple times, like almost a year or so, have told me. But every class has a different experience, I'm sure. Okay, that's pretty much it for this one. Just that update. I'll catch you guys in the next one.